in online. Perhaps you're tuned in at WVKR.org or on the dial. However it is you're tuned into Local Motion. Appreciate you being here. So let's start off the hour with some music by Jay Ungar and Molly Mason, and then we'll talk to them in a few minutes. I absolutely adore this track that they have done. Let's take a listen to this. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do, because it's a goodie. This one's called The Lover's Waltz. Jay Ungar and Molly Mason. .3 WVKR, Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. Isn't that one of the prettiest tracks ever? The Lover's Waltz, Jay Ungar, Molly Mason, and thrilled to say I have them on the phone. Let's get them on air. Jay, Molly?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
We're good.
I'm thrilled to have you both on air today. You're the first time for both of you on this show, and I've been doing it for 5 years, so I'm so thrilled to finally have you on as guests.
Incredible. Yeah, we're excited too.
Thanks for inviting us.
Of course. Thank you. You guys, I've seen you perform numerous times over the years. I know that you were also, my daughter was part of Stringendo, so she's come to the Ashokan camps that you guys have had. So we haven't, I don't think, met directly, but indirectly. I've been to your beautiful camp up there several times, and of course with the Hoots. But let's talk about some great music. We just heard the Lover's Waltz, and as I mentioned before.
That was actually, that wasn't the Lover's Waltz, though it's on that record.
It's on the Lover's Waltz album.
Yeah, that's Legends of the Fall.
Oh!
That's a soundtrack to a movie from the mid-'90s, which some people might remember.
I remember it.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt.
We loved that Jay got hired to play on the soundtrack of that film. We went over to England, I guess, to record that back in the day. And anyway, we loved that melody so much that we put it on the Lover's Waltz album, our own arrangement of it, of course, with our friends and everything. But yeah, that's what that tune was.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember that movie very well. It was beautiful, beautiful scenery and cinematography on that film. So,
right.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt.
Yes, hello, especially in the 90s. Yeah, hello. That was wonderful. 2 hours of looking at him at a screen is not a bad thing. So I loved when I was doing some homework and learning more about you that you both actually met right here in the Hudson Valley at the legendary Town Crier back in the late 70s.
Yeah.
That is true. That's exactly right.
And it was indeed the legendary Town Crier, the first Town Crier over there. I guess, was it called... what was the name of the town there?
He was Beekman. He was in Beekman, and then he was in Pauling.
Beekman. That's it. It was the old Beekman General Store.
Yeah.
That had been converted. And had you been there at that time?
I had not. No.
Oh gosh, the decor was basically Phil took over the store, put in a stage and a sound system, and it hadn't been open for business probably in decades. And all the goods on the shelves were still there, and that became the decor.
Yeah, the backstage was shelves of all kinds of, canned food and various different interesting
home remedies from the 1930s.
Well, it certainly has changed a little bit now. I know you were scheduled to both play there next month, but of course with the pandemic, that's been postponed, I believe.
Yeah, we don't have a date yet, but when this reduces enough for live performances indoors.
Yes.
We'll be there.
Yes, yeah. We're looking forward to that for sure. So the two of you, such a beautiful long history together. And I know, Jay, you're from the Bronx, Molly, Washington State. Jay, when did you first pick up a fiddle or a violin?
I was 7 years old. At the age of 6, for almost unknown reasons, I wanted to play the concertina. I mean, what I do remember is, this was the early days of TV. We had one in the 50s. Seeing a guy playing the concertina and a group of people dancing, and that mesmerized me, that you could play music and people would dance.
Mm-hmm.
So I begged for music lessons. And at the age of 7, my parents took me to the only person they knew of who taught in our part of the world. And he was classical.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't teach the concertina, but the violin, in my mind, at 7, was the closest sound to a concertina.
Mm-hmm. Aw. Uh-huh. Yeah.
So I wound up, playing classical music until I was in high school at the High School of Music and Art.
Mm-hmm.
Where I met a banjo player, and it was all downhill from there. Or it was into the hills from there.
Into the hills, the Appalachian Hills, I'm sure. Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Trips to North Carolina and Tennessee and playing with people there, and then discovering that there's fiddle music in New York State and New England and Canada. It's not just in the South.
Right. Right, right. It is all over. How did you find the Hudson Valley?
Well, as a kid, my parents had a little summer cabin in Putnam County.
Mm-hmm.
And in high school, I and some friends who were not too happy being city dwellers used to take weekend camping trips in the lower Catskills.
Nice.
So we'd get on a bus with all our gear and disappear for a few days,
Mm-hmm.
and then bus back. And, Woodstock was a draw musically later in life.
Right.
And then the music and dance camps at the Ashokan Center, which was called the Ashokan Field Campus back in 1980 when I first ran a camp there 40-something years ago.
Wow. Yeah, a long time. And Molly, you're from Washington State. Tell me about your early musical experience. Did you pick up a guitar or a bass? What was your first instrument?
Well, on Facebook recently, I put an old photo of me playing a little ukulele toy thing when I was about 4 or 5. So I guess I always kind of had the interest. But my first instrument was piano when I was 8 or 9, and got, your typical kid piano lessons for 3 or 4 years. After 4 years, I was like, I really have to play the guitar. So my parents gave me a guitar when I was about 11, probably 11 or 12. And that really, hit the right place in my musical brain. And I played guitar all the time. And I have a younger brother who was picking up fiddle. He decided he wanted to be a fiddler, even though he had never played anything yet. And we used to play together quite a bit. I had an uncle who played the fiddle, and my dad played a little bit of mandolin. So kind of folky old time music from the get go, I guess.
Oh, nice, beautiful. And when did you move out east from Washington?
Well, I first came here for a summer to play some gigs. And that was 1978. Then I moved here full time in 1980 to join the band with Jay, Fiddle Fever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you have any Fiddle Fever CDs hanging around there, but there's some good music on them from way back in the 80s.
Right, yeah.
That's what Molly had spent 79, I guess, as the bass player on Garrison Keillor's A Prairie Home Companion.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And we lured her away into Fiddle Fever.
Oh.
Musical insanity.
Yeah, I couldn't resist the great fiddle music.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. And then, of course, these renowned camps that you both hold at the Ashokan Fiddle and Dance. Was that part of SUNY New Paltz? Or tell me more about the Ashokan Center, the property.
Yeah.
Yeah, SUNY New Paltz bought that property in the late 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the professors there at SUNY New Paltz, an environmental professor, had the idea of building and starting a camp for young kids, like fifth graders, to learn environmental education and history.
Well, it wasn't
outdoor stuff.
But it was for schools.
It was for schools,
Mm-hmm.
yes, during the school year. So he put some buildings together way back then in the 60s and started this outdoor education program in 1967 that
it's still going.
Amazing.
Still going. And it was really so popular in the 70s and 80s and 90s. It totally filled up year-round. And it's just a great thing for kids to come from school for a whole week and live in the woods and walk every day and learn about trees and learn about water and all kinds of stuff.
And that property, well, his name was Kent Reeves. And he played the hammered dulcimer,
Mm-hmm.
and he loved the tune Ashokan Farewell,
Mm-hmm.
which I had written back in the early 80s. And 87 or so, when he moved west, he wrote lyrics to it. And this is before everybody knew about it from the Civil War series.
Mm-hmm.
Those programs are now, a form of them are available online. One is airing right now at ashokancenter.org.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they're called Ashokan Hello, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Clever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they're the outdoor ed programs online because we really can't have schools there right at the moment.
Right.
And then we're also running the music and dance camps online, also at ashokancenter.org.
Right.
And right now, tonight we start Bluegrass Camp.
Oh, fun.
And
Yeah, you want to hear some folks that are going to be helping us out with Bluegrass Camp in this coming week?
Please. Who?
Yeah. Joe Newberry, you might know that name from Prairie Home Companion when it was still on the air, and Live from Here. I think he did some of those shows too.
Yeah, Chris Thiele.
Chris Eldridge, great guitar player.
Well, he was from Live from Here and Prairie Home.
Yeah, the Punch Brothers. He's the Punch Brothers guitar guy. Alan Bibby is going to be doing mandolin.
Zach McLam on bass. Stephen Mogan on guitar. Bill Evans on banjo. And Kimber Ludiger on fiddle.
Oh.
And they're all teaching. These are all classes, but also jam sessions that are arranged to be online.
Beautiful. And this is for any age?
Any age and almost pretty much any level, because when you do these classes online, other people can't hear you.
Mm-hmm.
So if the class moves too fast, you can just go at your own pace. And then all the classes, while they are live, they are also recorded. And if you attend this program, you can go back and visit those classes for up to a year.
Oh.
And, progress at your own pace.
Beautiful.
So it's a real special opportunity.
Right. Now, you've had classes all summer. I know Andy Stack was involved with one of them. He was a guest a couple of weeks back. You've also had the acoustic guitar and all kinds of... What other ones besides bluegrass is coming up in the future at the Ashokan Center?
Well, there's one more after Bluegrass, and that's Southern Week, and that's one of the weeks that we've had since 1980, actually, or 82 is more accurate, but that's a really fun one with clogging and fiddling and banjoing and Cajun Zydeco music as well.
Yeah, so
Southern traditions.
It's kind of a music that came before bluegrass.
Mm-hmm.
It's sometimes called old-time music or traditional Appalachian music, but it's still a living tradition, so it never stopped growing and developing in its own way. And then, as Molly mentioned, Cajun and Zydeco as well.
Fun. Oh, it's great. Yeah. And this all can be found at the ashokancenter.org next couple of weeks. Now, the fun thing I've seen you guys do every Wednesday, talk about what you've got going on tonight.
Yeah. Well, shortly after the pandemic kind of hit us in mid-March, we decided to do, because, all of our gigs were no longer happening, and we got a little tired of just sitting around at home, so we started this show, I guess, on Facebook Live, and every Wednesday night at 8 p.m., and we sit in our little recording room area and play tunes and respond with the audience as best we can while we're playing music and doing a show. It's a lot of fun. We try not to do. We've tried not to do the same tune twice, and we've done pretty good at that. There's a small handful of tunes we've done because it was requested. We've done them again, but every week we try to come up with new things we haven't played yet.
How much fun.
And so that's kind of a challenge for us, to keep trying to crank out or dive into.
Oh, the first 6 weeks are easy, but after that it's a little more of a challenge.
Yeah.
But it's really fun. Our repertoire is expanding.
Yeah, I bet. And it's challenging for you guys. So that's tonight, every Wednesday, 8 o'clock, and this is on the Jay and Molly Facebook page, right?
Yeah, Jay Ungar and Molly Mason is the Facebook page. And the easy way to get there is facebook.com/Jay and Molly with a Y /live.
Okay.
Just like that. That's a direct route.
Right. 8 p.m. on Wednesdays sounds like a lot of fun. And also, if someone's listening and they didn't catch it, always go on the website, jayandmolly.com, and look for you guys on Facebook as well. Just Google, your names come up everywhere. So it's wonderful. Another great event that I've attended at the Ashokan Center has been the Hoot, which, of course, was Mike and Ruthie run that. And I know you have an online Hoot coming on
yes.
August 29th.
And we should have mentioned that when we said things coming up. Yeah, absolutely.
That was the next thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
What happens after Southern Week is over. Yeah.
And a great lineup there. Mike and Ruthie started it, how many years ago? Is it 7 or 8 years now?
Yeah, I can't remember which.
I'm trying to remember.
I think 2013 was its first year. I'm not exactly
That's
sure.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
So Amy Helm, their band, the Mammals, are there.
Yes.
Plus Amy Helm,
Jimmy Stone,
Aoife O'Donovan,
Oh,
Burnell Pines.
yep.
Seth Bernard.
Wow, the Restless Age, Root Brew, a great local band.
Yep.
Another local.
Yeah, they're great.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, we're playing there too.
Oh, yeah, there we go. There's our name. Okay.
Surprise, surprise.
Ruthie's mom, Lynn Hardy.
Uh-huh.
David and Jacob Burns. You know, Lynn Hardy is a luthier, so anybody out there with instruments that need repairs,
Ah,
look
okay.
for her. Look for her online.
Okay.
Lynn Hardy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What kind
So
of instruments does she repair? Guitars and strings or?
Yeah, fretted strings.
Mm-hmm.
Guitars, banjos, mandolins, and it's she's in Woodstock, so
Okay,
not
great.
too far from here.
Great.
Anyway, Elizabeth Mitchell and You Are My Flower will be there.
Oh,
That's great.
It's
Great lineup.
Yeah.
wonderful lineup. Yeah, I saw that because at the end of my show, show is all about Hudson Valley music. At the end of my show, I always do musical happenings. So I'm going to be mentioning the Hoot, and I couldn't believe the lineup. How amazing lineup there. So much
that
fun.
great?
Yeah, yeah. And we'll see if we can have the Winter Hoot in person. Time will tell, right? It's true.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Let's hope for that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's so up in the air, but,
yeah.
we can hope for the best.
We can hope for the best. That's all. That's all. Before I let you go, and I know you, Jay, you get asked this question all the time, but this is the first time you've been on the show, and listeners that are just tuning in have heard your song "Ashokan Farewell." It's world renowned at this point. Tell me about the backstory of that.
Okay, well, 1982 was the third summer of music and dance camps at Ashokan. It's now the Ashokan Center, but it was the Ashokan Field Campus, so there's still a lot of people who remember that name. And after that summer of camps, and these are for adults, families, kids were there, but only with their parents, but it's a community feeling. And I use the word that I usually say I was floating on a cloud of utopian euphoria. That's what it was. And, I get home, and we're into September, and the cloud starts to dissipate, and I come back down to the so-called real world. I'm making quote marks in the air when I say that.
Mm-hmm.
And I got sad. I missed the people. I missed that place, the land, the spirit of it all. I picked up the fiddle and started trying to access my emotions, and this tune came out, and it just brought me to tears. I turned on the cassette recorder to capture it because it seemed like it might be ephemeral and just disappear on me. And eventually we wound up recording it with our band Fiddle Fever. It was on an LP in 1984. A couple of our bandmates were working with Ken Burns, the new young filmmaker, on his second PBS documentary, The Brooklyn Bridge. And they gave him that LP. He heard that tune, and it touched him so deeply, he called me up and asked Molly and I to begin working on his next few short PBS documentaries. And he's done many. And then 1990 was the Civil War series, and that was the one that changed our lives and brought that tune to millions of people around the world.
To the world. And the soundtrack won an Emmy, and you were won a Grammy, and you were nominated for an Emmy for that beautiful track.
Indeed, that did happen.
Yeah. Every time I've heard you play it, it brings tears to my eyes. It just gives me goosebumps, and I think it must do that for millions of people that listen to it. I am going to obviously spin it after you and I and Molly are done talking here, but how beautiful that just kind of came to you without sitting down for a long time, and it was just based on your emotion.
Yeah, it felt like it was being written through me. Sometimes the best music seems to be that way. And it's very connected with the people. As I mentioned, Kent Reeves, who began the outdoor education programs at Ashokan, loved that tune, played it on the hammered dulcimer and wrote lyrics to it in the late 80s. And then when the property was put up for sale by the state of New York, that was part of the state university.
2006.
Yeah. We had recently connected with Governor Pataki at Gettysburg. We were there to play it for historians and an event at the battlefield. Even though they knew it wasn't from the period, they wanted to hear it. And Governor Pataki was the featured speaker. He's a student of the Civil War. And he was so moved by the tune that he wanted to meet us and talk to us. So when the property went up for sale, I contacted him. And because of that tune, he was inclined to help us by slowing down the process of the property going to some commercial purpose while we put together a nonprofit organization.
Beautiful.
To take over and keep all the programs going. And now it's an historic site on the National Register as well, because exploring the history, it goes back to the just before the Revolutionary War, the first Europeans, and prior to that, the Lenape Indians, the Munsee Indians, inhabited and visited that property and have a history and a connection with it as well, going way back. And then the outdoor education programs began over 50 years ago. So there's a long history of wonderful things at that land.
It's such a beautiful, beautiful piece of property. As soon as I've driven on there, I just feel this sense of peace and serenity. You step out of your car and it's like a different world, but it's not far removed from everything, right? It's just...
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is something about coming down that driveway, and I remember the first time I did, it was the winter of 79, 80, and it just felt special. Like, this is not the outside world. This is getting me closer to something truly spiritual, although I couldn't put a finger on it at the time. But I think that there's special energy there. There
absolutely is, and we're so thrilled that you're both such a big part of running that and continuing the beautiful tradition that started so many years ago. Ashokancenter.org. I can't recommend enough for people to visit, to check it out when you can visit, obviously. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful spot. And thank you so much to the two of you for what you do for the musical community. And I know you both very beloved in the area and throughout the states and parts of the world as well. So your music is just mesmerizing. And a lot of people, they can watch you live tonight, which is so great, They
can, and we have people checking in from all over the country and beyond.
That's beautiful.
Canada.
It's the World Wide Web.
It is
in Europe, Australia, you name it.
Yeah, and that's the thing that brings us all closer together, especially during these trying times when we can't all meet together. At least we have something like this, and we can still enjoy music, and it just puts us out of our crazy factor of what we're going through right now, at least for a little while. So, yeah.
I totally agree with you, which makes me want to say to you, you have an important job too, and I'm so glad that you have it. And
thank you.
It's important for people,
Thank
you know that.
Thank you. But it's because of folks like you with music like we have in this beautiful area, it's an absolute honor and delight to have you on this show. Again, I've been doing this for 5 years, and it's so nice to finally have you. You've eluded me, but now you've been on, and I do hope when this passes that either come in person or we'll do a longer set, because I know you have to prepare for this evening, so I don't want to hold you longer than what we agreed to. So I thank the both of you, but I am going to play some of your music. I'm going to play Love of My Life. I'm going to play the title track from The Quiet Room, as well as, of course, Ashokan Farewell.
Awesome. Okay, well, we look forward to seeing you in Poughkeepsie someday.
Yeah, absolutely. Or I'll be up at the Ashokan Center once we are able to do that. So thank you both, Jay and Molly. It's a pleasure. It's an honor.
Thank you, Rita.
Have fun tonight, and thanks for everything.
Thank you.
Take
Have
care.
a good time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Jay Ungar, Molly Mason, right here on LocalMotion. It's 4:32, and it's been such a thrill to talk with them. If you missed part of that interview, no worries, because I'm recording it. It'll be up on YouTube tonight, as well as the LocalMotion Facebook page. And I'm so thrilled to have finally been able to have the opportunity to speak with them. Jay Ungar, Molly Mason, live on Facebook tonight. And also they're doing their camps at the Ashokan Center. You can go on to the ashokancenter.org website, check out the Bluegrass Camp and the upcoming Southern Week as well. Beautiful camp. It's right off of Route 28 near Woodstock. It's in Olive Bridge, New York, and it seems like it's like off the beaten path, but it's really right off of Route 28, which is a pretty main street up in the Woodstock area. So yeah, so we'll talk more about them, but let's play some more of their music because it's just so good. Let's do this one from the track called The Quiet Room, and we're going to play one of their tracks right here, right now from that release, The Quiet Room. Let's take a listen. 91.3.
The color stick is
.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. Some beautiful music by Jay Ungar, Molly Mason, my guests today here on Local Motion. We just heard the title track from their release called The Quiet Room, and we also heard the track titled Love of My Life, same release, The Quiet Room. You can see Jay Ungar, Molly Mason perform live tonight. Instead of watching TV, you can hear some great music. They'll be on their Facebook page, Jay and Molly Facebook page, and follow them and check out a beautiful live concert tonight of their music. They'll also be running running the Ashokan Center camps for the rest of this month with the Bluegrass Camp coming up, as well as the Southern Week. If you're interested in any of those, you can visit ashokancenter.org as well as jandmolly.com. Felt so good to finally have them on the show. And of course, I'm going to play Ashokan Farewell, which is what Jay put him on the map, shall we say. Part of the, it was a beautiful track, which I'll play later in the show. I might go out with it closer to 6, but it was part of the documentary, the PBS series, The Civil War by Ken Burns. And it's a great track, and it's absolutely beautiful. So the song itself was nominated for the soundtrack won the Emmy, and the song itself was nominated for an Emmy. So, yeah, lots of good stuff. So we'll play that a little bit later. We're going to keep the music flowing. If you're just tuning in, it is time for Local Motion here until 6 o'clock. I'm your host, Rita Ryan, here each and every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. If you missed part or all of the interview with Jay Ungar and Molly Mason, I'll be recording it. It will be up on YouTube later this evening, as well as the Local Motion Facebook page. And right now, let's play some music. This gentleman will be playing tonight up in Woodstock, and of course, it's going to be outside at Colony. Let's take a listen to Jules Taylor, 91.3 WVKR.
I'm just driving by my lonesome. No one here would call me by my name. 'Cause I went west when I left Tulsa, 'cause the bridge over the Red River's in flames. And Amarillo's not the place I need to be. New Mexico ain't that far away. But I'll be traveling back down Highway 20 East, 'cause I took the long way to Abilene. Yeah, I took the long way to Abilene. I don't trust a broken arrow, 'cause most of them are just too bent to aim. You can load them in your crossbow, but you know that arrow just don't fly the same. So Amarillo's not the place I need to be. New Mexico ain't that far away. I'll be traveling back down Highway 20 East, 'cause I took the long way to Abilene. Yeah, I took the long way to Abilene. Yeah, I took the long way to Abilene. I need to be. New Mexico ain't that far away. But I'll be turning back down Highway 20 East, 'cause I took the long way to Abilene. Yeah, I took the long way to Abilene. Yeah, I took the long way to Abilene.
for you and good for me. What happened next I really did not see. One day I bought myself a book. I told myself I'd learn to cook. Cook for you and cook for me. What happened next I really did not see. Little witch come to my lips. Said I should make a go of it. One day I told myself I would do everything I thought I should. Good for you and good for me. What happened next I really did not see. One day the rumors were all true. And who's ashamed to be with who? Good for you and good for me. What happened is we really don't agree. Little witch come to my lips. Said I should make a go of it. Rumors were all true. Now who's ashamed to be with who? Good for you and good for me. What happened next I really did not see. Little witch come to my lips. Said let's make a go of it.
91.3 WVKR Independent Radio Poughkeepsie, the lovely and talented Ms. KJ Denhert off the release called Destiny. We just heard One Day. Release came out in 2014. She's got quite a few great releases out. KJDenhert.com. And you can see her perform live. Yes, there is live music here in the Hudson Valley area. Of course, it's all outside. It's all weather dependent. You must wear a mask unless you're seated. And you can see KJ this weekend at the Falcon in Marlborough. You must make a reservation and reserve a table. No standing around, only at a table. But there's been some great live music happening at the Falcon, and that surely includes KJ there this weekend, Friday night, live at thefalcon.com for information about that show and all the great shows they have coming up. Tonight, up in Woodstock, Jules Taylor, who got us started here, his release called Mountain Time, and we heard the track Long Way to Abilene. JulesTaylorMusic.com. This was released in 2018, and as I mentioned, the Colony in Woodstock, beautiful venue. They have an outside beer garden, and they have bunches of picnic tables with umbrellas. They're all socially distant, and they've got food, and they've got some libations and some great live music happening. And tonight you can see Jules Taylor at Colony in Woodstock. We're going to keep the music going now. This gentleman will be at Keegan Ales in Kingston tomorrow. Let's take a listen right now to David Cray, 91.3 WVKR.
They save it a little bit, never hurt nobody. So how about Ken? Some love from you. You've been caught dreaming. Well, said I was thinking about me and you. So let's roll them dice, sister, and just let it ride. There ain't nothing like losing your precious time. Sometimes you drive, and sometimes you fly. Be my shotgun rider if you get too high. There ain't nothing at stake here. It happens every day. You can't always win, no matter what they say. Sometimes it ain't as good doing as it is being done. Anything that he wants, you know, will and some. So let's roll them dice, sister, and just let it ride. There ain't nothing like losing your precious time. Sometimes you drive, and sometimes you fly. Be my shotgun rider if you get too high. Sometimes you drive, sometimes you fly. Be my shotgun rider if you get too high. Be my shotgun rider if you get too high. Days float by in a beautiful haze. Need to be sure, no need to need more, no need to court desire. I have concerns, what am I gonna do? Hide in plain sight, losing the fight, pretending I'm as lucky as you. But I can't complain. It's good to be like everybody. I'm hiding just the same. It's good to be like everybody. I had a vision and the best laid plans, but I wasn't very good at keeping the man. I left them to drift as they would, but a small surprise that they made good. I have concerns, what am I gonna be? It's hard to pretend that in the end I'll be extraordinary, but I can't complain. It's good to be like everybody. I'm hiding just the same. It's good to be like everybody. So little I want and so much time. No time like the present for a little self-denial. Choices I made could make me ashamed, and I stand by them all, but I can't complain. It's good to be like everybody, but if I'm not like everybody, and I can't complain. It's good to be like everybody, I'm hiding just the same. It's good to be like everybody,
.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. Lost Leaders, their latest release, Promises, Promises. We heard Extraordinary. This is a terrific CD. It was produced by David Barron and came out last year. LostLeaders.net, I do believe. And they'll be performing live too. So Peter Cole and Byron Isaacs are the ones who are Lost Leaders. Joining them on this recording, and I believe their upcoming performance, is Will Bryant on keyboards, mandolin, and backing vocals, as well as Lee Falco on drums and backing vocals. Lost Leaders will be performing at the Falcon in Marlborough on Thursday, August 27th. Again, outdoor music, it's live music. You must make a reservation and you must wear a mask at all times unless you're seated. Can't really walk around too much, so you kind of just hang at your table, have some great food and drink, and enjoy some wonderful live music. It's great to be able to see some live music, at least now outside, for a little while. So support the musicians, support the venues when we can. They're having a hard time with it all. Getting us started is David Cry, and that was from his latest release, North Mountain Rambling. We heard Shotgun Rider. David Cry tomorrow night, Thursday night, at Keegan Ales in Kingston. Also a real nice setup there. Picnic tables, everything socially distanced, some great food, some great beers, of course. It's a wonderful brewery, and that's right up in Kingston. David Cry tomorrow night, KeeganAles.com. Check out everything that's going on with them. It is 5:01. You are tuned into LocalMotion here on 91.3 WVKR. I am your host, Rita Ryan, here each and every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. If it's your first time tuning into this show is all about music of the Hudson Valley, musicians that live here, those that come to perform here as well. These two were guests back a few months back, and I just loved having them on, and I can't get enough of listening to them. Let's take a listen now to Annalise and Ryan here on 91.3 WVKR.
Tick-tock, the sky is falling, never heeded what you said.
I told you there's a hole in the roof, it's gonna get you away.
Hope pays no mind if she don't want to change.
You can't expect the sun to shine when we're standing in the rain.
When the rain comes down, where you gonna run to, baby? When I'm standing at the door, wondering what for. When the rain comes down, where you gonna run to, honey? When it all comes tumbling down. Drip drop, the truth came in, couldn't cover it with lies.
These walls are soaked with secrets that we never let dry.
Face to face, let's raise and wash away the stain.
The lies they lie behind us, now there's only love to gain.
When the rain comes down, where you gonna run to, baby? When I'm standing at the door, wondering what for. When the rain comes down, where you gonna run to, when the rain is falling, 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 where you gonna run to, baby? When it all,
when the rain is falling,
when it all
when the rain is falling,
comes tumbling down,
when the rain is falling,
when the
where you
rain
gonna
comes
run
down,
to, baby?
when the
it
rain
all,
comes down,
when it all comes tumbling down, when the rain comes down, where you gonna run to, baby? When I'm standing at the door, wondering what for. When the rain comes down, where you gonna run to, honey? When it all comes tumbling down. When the rain comes down, where you gonna run to, baby? When I'm standing at the door, wanting so much more, yeah. When the rain comes down, where you gonna run to, honey? When it all comes tumbling down. When it all comes tumbling down.
Are you ready to rock and roll? Are you ready to feel my soul? Are you ready to rock and roll? Are you ready to feel my soul? Are you ready to rock and roll? Are you ready to feel my soul? Rock and roll. Are you ready to feel my soul? Rock and roll. Are you ready to feel my soul? All those years I try not to remember, singing Stevie tunes in the schoolyard. The nuns that whip their sticks try to make me remember that a white boy shouldn't have to sing so hard. When I sang those songs, the penguins said keep down the noise, and you're never gonna make it as a choir boy. Thank God for failure and the things I couldn't do. So much of my life, it's all I ever knew. Thank you for failure in my teen music, for making the dreams that chose me come true. Schooling's done, now it's time to play it serious. I forget about dreams, forgetting about being a dude. Study business, real estate, and warfare history. Just how to smile when you are being screwed. Then I bombed the test and I did the best that I can. So I finally cut my mullet and I joined the band. Thank God for failure, for the things I couldn't do. So much of my life, it's all I ever knew. Thank God for failure in my teen music, for making the dreams that chose me, making the dreams that chose me come true. Failure for all the things I could not do. So much of my life, it's all I ever knew. Thank you, failure, for the mighty music changes in my heart. You know the dreams that chose me, yeah.
Oh, you did, you mold this kid. You filled my heart, you blew my lid. Oh, you make me feel so good. You give me a good home cooking and gravy too. You gotta hop the doggy. You gotta hop the doggy. But everything's okay now.
91.3 WVKR. Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York, the one and only Mr. Martin Sexton. His release from 2007, Seeds, we heard Failure. Martin Sexton's playing his first gig right here in the Hudson Valley since February. He'll be playing at City Winery in Montgomery on August 29th. It's a 3 p.m. show. And check out their website, citywinery.com, of course, /Hudson Valley. They have several locations, and that's right in Montgomery. The first concert that they were supposed to have was postponed. So just keep an eye on the schedule. Make sure things are still happening or if they're being postponed. But Martin Sexton scheduled to be at City Winery Saturday, August 29th at 3 p.m. And the good news is, I haven't quite announced this yet, but I'm doing it now. Martin will be my guest next week here on LocalMotion. Always love talking to him, and he's the best. I love Martin Sexton. If you're not familiar with him, check out his website, martinsexton.com. He's done a few live streams, but not very many. So when he does them, boy, they're wonderful. And again, he'll be at City Winery on the 29th, and you can check out Martin's website to get information for everything about Martin. Getting us started, Annalise and Ryan, their latest single, When the Rain. Love those voices together. Annalise and Ryan, they do live stream each and every Monday. Check out their Facebook page, Annalise and Ryan, and you can hear some great live music doing on a Facebook right at home. Every Monday night they've been doing it. And so lots of music still out there. There's lots of live music happening outside at venues as well as live streams on people's social media pages. So it's nice to stay connected. Going to keep the music going right now with someone who's immensely talented, and this young woman who sings on this is just mesmerizing. Let's take a listen to David Barron and Fiona Glenn, WVKR.
You feel you always walk alone, but you never sense who is around you. The less you speak, the silence grows. More or less will show you're not alone now. I will be a ghost. I watch you dream and wake right through, bathed in midnight blue, the sacred morning. Tears will echo every song, forgotten and so strong, the paleness after. I will be a ghost. Everybody walks amongst us, everybody talks, but we've lost our words. We're just whisperers stuck in shadows on the wall. I know that we've all felt love, and God, I want to feel it again. Let me in. You've got to let me in. I felt a tickle, heard a laugh. We struggled in the past, but not this moment. Barely awake, but always aware. You're always there, you're always with me. Everybody walks amongst us, everybody talks, but we've lost our words. We're just whisperers stuck in shadows on the walls. Everybody talks, but we've lost our words. We're just whisperers stuck in shadows on the walls. I know that we've all felt love, and God, I want to feel it again. Let me in. You've got to let us in. I know that we've all felt love, and God, I want to feel it again. Let me in. You've got to let us in. You've got to let us in. You've got to let us in. Let me in.
If you could hear me now, if you could hear me somehow, if you could hear the words that I'm thinking about a world on fire, good thoughts lost in the mire, and it seems like no one's listening. If you could see me now, if you could see me somehow, if you could see the world where we're living, where the money's in charge and the black coal barge, and there's no more fish to be fishing. If you could hear me now, if you could hear me somehow, if you could hear what my soul is screaming, that we are one in the land of the sun, and there's no more fear of dreaming. If you could know me now, if you could know me somehow, if you could know the pain that I'm feeling, if you know my heart's being torn apart by the way good folks is treated. If you could see me now, if you could see me somehow, if you could see the things that I'm seeing, that the people win and prosper in the end, and leave something to